What's up, everybody? It's Nosy Boy back with another character concept. Today we're tackling the galaxy's most sarcastic Jedi, Obi-Wan Kenobi. Before we get started with Kenobi, I just want to thank you guys so much. We broke 2,500 subscribers. I've only been on YouTube for 2 months. It's just insane, and I don't have words for how supportive you've been. If you want to take your support even further, make sure to join the Discord to hang with me and some hilarious people. The link is in the description below. Also, follow me on Twitter if you feel like it. The link is also in the description below. Now then, let's get started with General Kenobi. Starting with the basics like we always do, Obi-Wan's default appearance will be his robeless look from Episode 3. He will have 750 base health, putting him around average for lightsaber characters. He will also have an average running speed and dash. Think about Rey and Kylo, not quite as fast as Luke or Maul, but not quite as slow as Vader either. Obi-Wan Kenobi will be able to take 250 damage before losing permanent health, making him able to take some decent hits. Master Kenobi also has the very first passive in the entire game, called High Ground. All blaster shots fired from below Kenobi will do 5% less damage. I had to shoehorn that in somewhere, and as a passive, I felt was the best place. For a weapon, Obi-Wan has his standard Jedi lightsaber. It does 100 damage per swing, on par with Luke and Kylo's basic swings. The real strength of Kenobi isn't going to be in his lightsaber attacks, however. He is an expert at defense as a great Surisu user, and he's also pretty strong in the Force. He has the same amount of block stamina as Luke Skywalker, but naturally has perfect deflection, unlike Luke and my Mace Windu concept, who needed star cards for that. This makes Kenobi the most viable threat at range out of any saber character based off of their weapons alone, and makes Kenobi a sort of pseudo-tank. This is going to be accentuated by his abilities. Obi-Wan's first ability is his Jedi Mind Trick. Rey already juked Obi-Wan's most iconic ability, so we have to get a little creative here. It would be underwhelming if Obi-Wan just copy and pasted her ability and called it a day. I mean, he definitely needs it. He literally makes somebody quit a nicotine addiction and rethink their entire life just by using his mind trick. Nobody does it better than Obi-Wan. Obi-Wan's will be more unique. His mind trick lasts for 2 seconds and is on a 20-second cooldown. Enemies afflicted by the condition will be unable to hurt Obi-Wan, as they'll see him and Obi-Wan's teammates as allies. Afflicted foes will see their teammates as enemies, meaning that they can shoot them or take damage from their own team within the 2 seconds. Since they're unable to hurt the Jedi Master, it is his big crowd control ability. This ability also applies to enemy villains, since Rey's mind trick can work on enemy villains. The best way to stop this ability is just to run away from Obi-Wan while it's active. However, Obi-Wan's next ability can help him catch those that flee. Obi-Wan's second ability is Force Speed. This ability will double Obi-Wan's movement speed for 10 seconds. To add to Obi-Wan's offensive presence, when Obi-Wan swings his lightsaber, the duration always becomes 2 seconds. This can allow him to extend it or cut it short depending on when he uses it. His lightsaber strikes twice as quickly, increasing his damage per second from 200 to 400. This can total up to 800 damage across the 2 seconds, and now you can see why the duration always cuts to 2 seconds. Could you imagine an Obi-Wan swinging like that for 10 seconds straight? This is a strong ability, yes, but strikes can still be blocked with a lightsaber. It is also worth mentioning that Obi-Wan uses no stamina while in his sped up state. Force Speed is obviously an excellent ability with a lot of utility. It provides Obi-Wan with a lot of tools. It's a powerful engagement tool, a getaway, a way to traverse the map quickly, and a fantastic way to chase enemies running away from him. Because this is such a powerful buff for Kenobi, it is going to be on a pretty lengthy 30-second cooldown. Have no fear, he does have another ability he can use more often. Obi-Wan's third and final ability is Force Push, and this one's going to be on a 15-second cooldown. It's a crying shame that a character that never uses Force Push on screen steals it when it's one of Obi-Wan's most iconic abilities. To make Obi-Wan's version different than Luke's, we have to get creative. I don't know if you guys have played or heard of this game called Overwatch, but Doomfist is a character that exists in it, and he has an ability where he punches the opponent and they take a lot of damage when they go flying into a wall. If they don't hit a wall, they don't take the massive damage. Obi-Wan's Force Push will perform like that. Enemies go flying 2.5 times faster than Luke's push sends them, and they only take 50 damage on the initial hit of the ability. However, they also take an additional 150 damage if they hit a wall. This gives Obi-Wan an excellent ability for killing enemies, if they're in front of a wall. Now, I've learned from my Windu video that not every ability should kill infantry in one hit. So Obi-Wan's one hit is a little situational. There'll be plenty of situations where he can land it and rack up kills, but it is very far from a guaranteed kill every time he uses it or hits it, especially on maps like Hoth or Crate. Starting off Obi-Wan star cards, we have a bold one. Whenever Obi-Wan defeats an enemy trooper, he regains 20 health. Whenever Obi-Wan defeats an enemy villain, he regains even more. At common, this is 40, at epic, 100. You know this card. Everybody needs this card. It's the best card. It just makes kill streaks doable and makes heroes more fun to play. Of course, I'm going to give it to Obi-Wan. Next up, we have Sarisu Specialist. Obi-Wan's lightsaber stamina for blocking and swinging is increased. At common, this is a 5% increase. At epic, this is a 15% increase. This is going to help his perfect deflection ability, just his natural ability to use perfect deflection, a lot. It's going to make Obi-Wan a pretty decent threat at range, and I think it's a pretty viable option if that's what you want from your Kenobi. Next is Sith Lords are our speciality. Obi-Wan's lightsaber does bonus damage to enemy villains. At common, this is 5 damage per swing increase, and at epic, this is 15. It's not as much as Kylo's that can give him 20 more damage per lightsaber swing, but it's still a pretty good chunk and makes Obi-Wan a much better duelist in heroes versus villains. The next star card is Hello There. The first swing Obi-Wan lands on an opponent with his lightsaber does bonus damage. At common, this is 10% more damage, and at epic, 25%. This goes along with the last one and just makes his lackluster lightsaber damage better, and in general gives him more of an opportunity to get kills with it. Weak-minded Foes is up next. Obi-Wan's mind trick lasts longer on afflicted enemies. At common, this is a 1 second increase, and at epic, it's 3 seconds. I think Obi-Wan's whole mind trick effect is much stronger than Rey's, because if you get mind tricked by Rey, you can still Vanguard her, you can still swing your lightsaber at her, you can still use abilities against her. If you get mind tricked by Obi-Wan, you can't hurt him at all, and your teammates can hurt you, so I didn't want to increase the duration for too long. I think 3 seconds is more than enough, and I think this does make his mind trick one of the better CCs in the entire game. Master of the Mind Trick. The area Obi-Wan's mind trick affects is larger. At common, this is a 10% increase, and at epic, this is a 30%. This is just another way to buff his mind trick without making it too OP. I don't want Obi-Wan just to destroy everybody every time he has a mind trick, but I do want it to be strong. Another happy landing. Immediately after Force Speed ends, Obi-Wan takes less damage for 3 seconds. At common, this is a 10% damage reduction. At epic, this is a 20% damage reduction. This is just to make Obi-Wan more viable in the pseudo-tank role. Maybe you don't want to play Windu or my Windu concept. Just pick this and Obi-Wan can much better fill out the tank role your team may require. Next, we've got Short Negotiations. Obi-Wan takes less damage while Force Speed is active, but the ability only lasts for 5 seconds. At common, this is a 20% damage reduction, and at epic, this is a 40% damage reduction. Along with the last card, this just makes him a better pseudo-tank. If you don't want him to be a speedy presence on the battlefield, just throw this on him and he fills the whole Vader role a lot better and isn't too terrible at it either. I actually really like this card. Finally, we have Jedi Master's Push. Obi-Wan's Force Push sends enemies flying farther back. At Common, this is a 10% increase, and at Epic, this is a 30% increase to how far they go flying. As you can tell, an ability that needs someone to hit a wall is a lot better if it sends people even farther back. This is just a really nice buff to his whole Force Push gimmick. Now for my favorite section of the video. I just love talking about cosmetics and emotes. Obi-Wan has a ton of options for skins. Before I get into this, all of Kenobi skins can easily have a hooded robe option and a hoodless robe option, so just know those exist for all of these, but this would be like a 13-minute long section if I just did a robe and hoodless option for every single one individually. Starting with Episode 1, I've thought of 2 skins. He can have his basic Episode 1 look, and a costume where he uses Qui-Gon's lightsaber, as he does to kill Maul. You guys should already know how gay I am for costumes that change lightsaber colors, because they add more to the character than just another outfit to wear. Green Saber Obi-Wan is just too sexy to leave out of the game. For Episode 2, he can have his Jedi mullet look, and an alternate where he has the headset like he does when he flies. For the Clone Wars, Obi-Wan can have his earlier appearance with all the armor on his robes, and the later one where he only has the gauntlet. There's also his bounty hunter outfit and his Mandalorian disguise. For Episode 3, Obi-Wan doesn't have much, as that would be his basic appearance. He could have a post-Anakin fight outfit where his robes are slightly tattered, and a headset skin like with the Episode 2 one. Finally, we could have an old man Obi-Wan skin like in Star Wars Rebels and in Episode 4.
Hello there.
You want to go home and rethink your life?
This is going to be easy. So uncivilized.
Before we get into the overall for Obi-Wan, I want you guys to tell me what emotes for Obi-Wan you've wanted to see, and that you would like to see in the game. He is by far the most quotable Star Wars character ever, and I'd love to see what you guys come up with. I personally love the idea of killing someone in the game and making them watch Obi-Wan tell them to rethink their entire lives and to give up. It's over, I have the high ground, was also super close to making it into my list. Just know it was in an honorable 5th place. Anyways, Obi-Wan is a pseudo-tank with a great defense. His lightsaber swings are underwhelming, but his abilities in the Force are both unique and powerful. In Galactic Assault, he would perform well on every map, and be an all-around hero. His ability to block blaster bolts perfectly makes him decent at any range, and he can use his speed to cross large open maps without exposing himself to too much danger. In close quarters, his Force Push makes short work of enemy troopers, and anytime he needs a way to keep from taking too much damage up close, he can just use Mind Trick. Obi-Wan is insanely popular, so I wanted him to be usable on any map and in most situations. Obi-Wan's role in Heroes vs. Villains is again an all-arounder. He can defend himself from most threats, and fight back against most threats. His Mind Trick would be a potent tool to cause confusion in the enemy villains. Force Speed would be more useful in this game mode as a way to rush down the target and do massive burst damage, or he could be pretty decent at running away and staying alive as the target. His Force Speed could even allow him to be the light side counter to jetpack villains like Boba Fett and the inevitable Jango Fett. Thank you all so much for watching. Comment down below who you want to see in my next poll and vote in the poll in the description. It will end on Monday, 72 hours after the General Grievous video this Friday. Join my Discord if you want to play some Battlefront with Nosy Boy. That link is in the description below. You can also provide input on future videos or just hang out with some fellow Star Wars nerds. Follow me on Twitter, again in the description below, to see more of my opinions and to stay updated on this channel, and subscribe to stay tuned to this series and more Star Wars content in general. Once we get to 5,000 subscribers, I would love to start streaming for you guys, so let's see if we could get there. With all that said, I will see you all in the next video.